The meeting is being recorded. Okay.
Oh, yes. As I mentioned, everything will be recorded for this module, so you can go back and check anything that we speak in class.
Perfect.
So let me see, we have 20 people already in. Slides. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Define colorful, Clement. So we're gonna wait a couple of minutes more, maybe 3 until everybody's connected. But starting tomorrow, we start night sharp, just like in software engineering. I forgot to mention that on Friday, so it's okay that today we wait a couple of minutes more. Please mention this to your teammates in your groups in Slack after the class, in case I forgot to mention again. So we have 31. Yeah, around 39, 38. Yeah, that's the amount of students. Plus me in the chat will count as 39. People sometimes get jobs offers in between since the moment that I applied to the SDA, they still look for jobs, apply for jobs. So yeah, the job process here in Sweden takes around 20 to 60 days. So yeah, if you apply at the same time to a job offer and to the SDA, around IP, people get some offers and yeah, they drop out the program. So it's quite normal. Up to 50 spots. Yeah, if they don't pass the interview process, blah blah blah, we end around 45 people at the very beginning. So yes. So we are waiting for 4 more people, but we start 9:05 just in case. And I will start sharing the screen right away, just to win some time. It will be desktop number 1. Perfect. And go. You can see it. Yes. And I just want to see if, yeah, this goes perfect. So we start in 1 minute. 37. But you don't need to open the slides. We can share the screen from my computer so we see everything at the same time. But you can check the slides after the class is over. Okay, we'll start right now. So welcome to the front-end development part 1, HTML, where we learn the basics of how to build a website. Before we wonder why do we need to learn how to make a website, everybody can do that. The thing is that to learn React, that is a topic that we're going to cover in the second week that allows us to make web applications. We really need a strong foundation of how to make a good websites. Otherwise, handle the complexity in a front-end framework like React will become so much complex that you will not be able to complete the course. So having a strong foundation of how to make a nice website will be the key to succeed in the next week. So this is the table of contents for future reference. You will understand that what each title means at the end of this, by the end of the lecture. Thus, the table of contents will become super useful once we review. You want to review the information later. So let's get started. Let's start with the very basics, like what is a web page? A web page is no more than a group of computer files sent by another computer over the internet. And how these files are created? The answer is by using a combination of technologies called HTML, CSS, and the infamous JavaScript. In this lecture, we'll focus on mastering HTML before moving to the other two. And what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And what is markup? Markup is a fancy word for a computer language that doesn't have any logic like variables, function, if statements, etc. So you use this markup to tell the computer what information you want to show to the user and in what particular order. To add a touch of design, you need to combine HTML with CSS, and to add logic, thus to make a static web page into an interactive web application, you combine it with JavaScript that you already started to learn. And to make even more complex applications, instead of using plain JavaScript, we're going to teach how to use a special library called React in the next week. That takes JavaScript to the next level. We're going to learn how to connect HTML with both CSS, JavaScript in the coming days. But let's start by how HTML is structured. HTML is built by writing content inside special blocks called tags, like the ones that you can show on the screen. A tag is a way to tell the computer that you want to present this particular piece of content on the screen, and that it represents a special meaning. For example, this word grocery list is not a normal word, it's a special title. And we define that because the tags that you can see on this in both sides means H1 means heading 1 or title level 1. And you can see that the word is surrounded by an opening tag and a closing tag. So everything that is inside these two tags means that it will become the main title of the page. And to make a website, a more complete website, you can mix and match different tags. You can even write tags inside another tag to create more complex layouts. Something like this. So as you can see, we can start making a to-do list just by combining multiple tags inside other tags. In this example, you can see that there is a all L tag that means ordered list for a list with a couple of numbers. Inside the tags, you can see the LI tag that is means list item, and you can see the contents on the screen. Because there are hundreds of HTML tags, I don't expect nor I want that you try to memorize them. That will be pointless in an era of just using Google to look up this kind of information. But If you need to memorize some tags, it will be just 3. That are the entire skeleton of this lecture. And these tags are the HTML tag, the head tag, and the body tag. I can see a small sample on the right, but let's go into depth. And what is these tags? The HTML tag, the tag with the same name of the entire language, everything inside this tag will be treated by your web browser as a web page. The head tag is a tag that allows to set up some settings before you show the page to the user. So imagine that you are buying a computer for a relative that doesn't have much computer experience. You will buy the computer and open it up and install some programs like Office, Google Chrome, and so on and so forth before giving them to them. So that will be the equivalent of the head tag. You set up your page. For example, you define the in which language it is. You download some fonts. You start adding the CSS files for graphic design before you show the contents on the screen. So that's the goal of the head tag, to set up the page before you show it to the user. And the body tag is the contents that the user see on the screen. So the titles, the text, the images, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, the body tag is the most important one because it's the one that the user can see on the information that the user can see on the screen. And it's the one that we're gonna focus more during this week. To better illustrate how this code works, let's use a visual analogy behind the scenes of a web page. First, the HTML tag contains everything inside your website of the web page. Then inside the HTML tag, we have two smaller tags called the head tag and the body tag. And in turn, inside the head tag, there are tags invisible for the user, like the title that you can see on the web browser tab, or the language files and the CSS files that allow to set up the page before the user can see it. And finally, inside the body tag, you have more tags. These ones are actually visible for the user, like the title, the paragraph, the images, videos, and so on and so forth. So let's focus on the head tags. We can start making a quick example in Visual Studio Code, so to see how we write some files. So I will open Visual Studio Code. I will gonna create a new project on the desktop, for example. I will say lecture 1. And we're gonna create a template HTML file from scratch. Just literally right click, new file. We're gonna use the name index.html. The reason that we see that this name called index.html is because it's the equivalent of the main.java class. When you open, when the browser opens your web page, you have multiple files across the project. So the web browser needs to know which one represents your first screen or home screen. So this will be the index one. So if you have multiple pages, index one will be the one that the browser opens first. Again, it's the equivalent of the main.java, your entry point. And to create an HTML template, we can just write HTML. And then inside this, you can create the head tag, as I mentioned, and then the body tag, as I mentioned as well. But Visual Studio Code allows you to create a small template. As soon as you write without tags HTML5, it will create a small template for you. And I want to explain each these tags right away. So let's go back to the presentation. So the tags. The first one, maybe one of the most important ones, is the title tag. This title is the one that is the title that not the one that you see on the inside the web page. So for example, if I go back to Visual Studio Code for 1 second and I click say hello world, and I open this file, right click, I can say Reveal in Finder. I open this one in the browser. You can see that the web page you cannot see anything right now. But I wrote something on this in Visual Studio Code. I wrote hello world. I can say it, for example, SDA9, SDA9, reload the page, and I don't see anything. But if I open a tab, you can see that this is the title I can see on the screen. So the title tag is just to tell the machine what is the name of the web page, but it doesn't show anything on the screen. Second, the next tag is the style tag. This tag allows you to write some CSS commands to stylize the page. But I don't like to use this tag because if you put your CSS inside your HTML file, your project will become messy right away. Just use this particular tag for some short examples. I will use one right away. So for example, if I put style, for today's class, don't focus on the CSS. It's just an example. So you don't need to understand what I'm writing right now. This part is CSS. I just can say background color red. If I reload my page, I make the page red. But as I mentioned before, the style tag allows you to write design commands for using CSS inside the HTML, but I only use this one for quick demos. If you want to write more complex CSS or bigger or more lines of code, I recommend the link tag that allows you to, as the name says, to link to external files. In this case, we want to link to CSS files. Then we have another tag called a script tag that allows you to add JavaScript files. So you use the link tag when you want to link to CSS files, and you use the script tag when you want to link to JavaScript files. And finally, the meta tags, plural, because there are multiple meta tags, allows you to do certain setups of the page. For example, if I go back to Visual Studio Code, we can see not one, not two, but three tags. I can add, I can explain which one does. The first one says meta charset UTF-8. You don't need to memorize these tags because, as you saw in Visual Studio Code, as soon as you write HTML5, it allows you to create these files for you. So you don't need to memorize anything, just to understand what they do. The charset UTF-8 is for adding special characters. Otherwise, each time that you try to write something on the screen that has a special accents, like for example, tilde or the Swedish special characters, they will become jumbled. The browser will not display them correctly. So you need to tell the machine that we are going to use a standard these special characters by using this meta tag. This one is a legacy tag. It's probably not used anymore, but it's okay to use it, to leave it here. It's just to make the website understand it should render, when you open the Edge browser, it should render with modern HTML instead of trying to call the old Internet Explorer. So this is totally obsolete now because Edge now runs on Chrome. So this one is totally useless. But it's okay in case that you're making a website for some special case where you need to still target Internet Explorer. For example, I think that the Swedish tax agency still use Internet Explorer 9. So this will make the website compatible with that one. And this one is also a legacy tag. I think the Firefox and Google Chrome still need it. This one is to tell your website, your browser, that this website will be a responsive website, and then you need to start loading the content first as a mobile website before moving to a desktop website. More information about that one tomorrow when we reach the CSS part. And finally, this one is the title tag that I already mentioned. Not the title that appears on the screen, but on the top of the web page. So let's go back to the slides. And these are this icon of Visual Studio Code that I put on the lower screen means that I need to showcase examples just like I did. So I did it in different order, but it's okay. So, okay, but we want to see information on the screen. So let's focus on these tags. But first, because there are so many tags, let's classify them in 4 main categories. First, we have grouping tags that, as the name says, they are for literally whole information. They are not designed so you can write information inside these tags, but they are designed to hold other pieces of information. So imagine literally like the grouping tags as a folder. You don't write inside the folder. If you try to do something like this, imagine delivering a homework for a teacher and writing your entire assignment outside the folder. That's a disaster. Now, if you want to write something, you open the folder. I hope that you can see the webcam. And inside the folder, you put a piece of paper, and inside the piece of paper, you actually write the content. So that will be an analogy for the grouping tags. The grouping tag will be like a folder, and inside the folder, you put the information. And we're going to see a better example of this in a moment. Then the content tags are the ones that actually have the information on the screen. So for example, if you want to write text, the P tag, that is a paragraph tag, will be the equivalent of an empty piece of paper where you can actually write something inside it. Same with the image tag, video tags, and so on and so forth. Then we have the interactive tags. These ones are the buttons, the forms where the user can type, interact with your web page and make your web page interactive. And if we want one level further, transform your web page into a real application. And finally, we have a couple of small tags that doesn't fit in the other three categories. They are for dividing the web page in sections, for example, making a rule to split the content in half, a tag just to make a literal equivalent of making enter space in Word to put a little bit more space between paragraph, and so on and so forth. So let's focus on the grouping tags first for a while. And let's make a better analogy of the folder structure. As I mentioned before, if you need to deliver a homework for a teacher, you will never write your homework outside in the folder itself. You will open your folder, and inside your folder, you will have one sticky note, for example, the title of a movie, for example, then a piece of paper for just to write in the script of a movie, and then another tag for maybe for the images as well. So I will skip this one for tomorrow. And let me go to the next slide because I want to explain this one later. I modified this slide yesterday. I don't know why they're not synced. So, well, tomorrow I will explain this slide in detail because it's more related to CSS than to HTML. But okay, let's move on. Now that we explained the meaning of the grouping tags, we can start going into details about these tags. We have a couple of tags that are what we call in modern HTML semantic tags. In traditional HTML, in the older ways, we only have the div tag. When you try to modify a web page, it was a nightmare, especially if you're trying to work on somebody else's code, because every tag was just a div. So for example, if I go back to Visual Studio Code, when people wanted to make websites, everything was just a div, and then inside the div was another div. So everything was looked the same. So you have no context of which part of the content is important, which part are less important, and so on and so forth. So modern HTML actually started to make specialized tags to group information. For example, as I mentioned, the header tag, we have session tags, and we're going to see examples of this. So let's see this tagging by using an example. So for example, by entering the website Airbnb, the header tag is designed to showcase what are the in the introduction and content of your web page. So you use the header tag when you need to tell the computer that these elements belong to the introduction of the entire web page, or a section or article that are the other semantic tags. So for example, in the Airbnb example, this will be the header tag because it's the introduction of your web page where you have the logo, You have the search bar and the tools for the user profile. But this is something important. A web page can have more than one header tag. So if we analyze this page and we draw another bounding box, for example, this one for the main content, we can see that stays in New York is another header tag, something like this, because it's the introduction for this part left side of the screen. And if we go into depth and we create a smaller bounding boxes for these elements, we can see that hotel rooms in Manhattan will be the header tag inside this one. So as you can see, you can break it down your web page into smaller blocks. And each time that you have an introduction for this particular block, you can create another header tag. So another fellow developer can enter your web page, read your code, and understand which part are the introduction for each particular element of the screen. Now, the section tag is designed for divide your web page in major blocks of navigation. So, for example, if you're in a news website and the home page, for example, let's enter CNN. Let's use a real example. If we enter CNN in the home page, we can see the top news. This can be maybe the header. But then we can see latest news, that will be another section. Oh, and you can literally see the word section. So feature sections, that will be a section. Then, for example, this will be another section for the special videos. Then a section just for pictures. So each time, and then in case you miss it, so each time that you want to divide major blocks of content or categories, you can use the head tag. So let's go back to the slides. So you can see the major blocks of navigations in the section. And there is another tag called aside. And what is this semantic tag for? Well, if section is for the major blocks of the content of the web page, aside is for the secondary content. In this case, in the Airbnb example, my main content are the bookings or listings of the booking options that we want to see. And the secondary content or supplement or the support content will be the map on the right to tell me which where are these each of these places to rent located in the city. So this will be the first bounding box will be the sections, the main content, and the second one. Oh, sorry, we're in the art. What happened with the side? Okay, and the side is the map. I just forgot to draw the bounding box. So moving to the article tag, the article are inside the sections are each particular item that is important. So don't confuse the word article with, for example, a news article. That's why I don't use the CNN example in this particular part. Articles don't mean a news article per se, but means the items inside each major section. So for example, in this section of Airbnb where we are talking about book rentals, each book rental will be an item, and this particular item will be an article. Finally, the footer tag, as the name said, is the content that goes in the bottom part of the web page. So you probably imagine that this is the footer, but if we piece together everything that we just saw with the section and the article tag, we can probably see that this section has a footer as well. And if you probably start guessing about this one, you probably realize that this article also has a footer that will be basically the part here on the bottom. And that was the header and so on and so forth. So you can see how all the semantic tags come together to make to give you more context about the sections or the parts that compose a website. And finally, the semantic tag, the semantic tag called the nav. This one will be for the major navigation blocks of your web page. In this case, will be the part, the navigation will be the menu that you can see on the top right, because we are seeing the tablet website. We don't see the full menu, but we see these 3 lines that are the hamburger menu. That will be my navigation menu. And this is the tricky part, because you're gonna probably think that, hey, maybe this part is also a navigation, a nav tag, because I can see that I can navigate the listings by price and so date and so on and so forth. But no, in contrast to the other tags that we just showed today, you can only have one navigation tag for the entire web page. And you may wonder why. And the reason is for accessibility options. For the screen readers, for people with visual disabilities, they need to use a special screen readers, and the screen reader needs to scan your web page for the nav tag. So when these people need help to change between section and pages within your website, they need to understand the where is the main menu, and the main menu is the nav tag. So if you put 2 nav tags inside a web page, the screen reader will become confused because it doesn't know which one is actually the major navigation of the website. How do we go from the main page to the product page to the about us page to the content page? So it needs to understand which one are the major links of your web page. So that's why you need to have only one navigation tag in your entire web page. Well, we speak all about group tags, but we need to start to seeing some information on the screen. So that's why where the content tags start to take place. So these 5 are the most important ones. The first one, the headings, are for the titles. This is a fun part. Unfortunately, as something that I mentioned during the front end, during the software engineering module, people that invent these languages or these project management tools has a weird obsession with writing similar names for stuff that has a totally different meaning. So literally, I will create a slice from scratch. Where are we in the presentation? Oh, I actually have it here. So you can see that there is 2 tags that are extremely similar, head versus header. And we can actually put another one, versus H1, and I will paint this one yellow just to make the example, and I will put in parentheses heading. Just put this one in white. So as you can see, people that invent this stuff has an absolute obsession with make you confused. I honestly don't know why, but you have 3 different tags that are totally different. The head tag, as I mentioned before, is for setting up the web page before you show it to the user. The header, adding the letters E and R, are for the introductions parts of your web page. Remember, not for the first part, not only for the first introduction of your web page, but for the introduction of each major piece of your content inside your web page, you can repeat the header tag. And finally, the H1, that looks visually different than the other 2 tags, but its meaning is a shorthand for heading. So you have HEAD as the major repeating content in these tags. The H1 heading tag is for the titles itself. So I know that this is super confusing, and it's something that you need to get used to this. You will see this in coding all the time. That we have another example of confusing contents. This time, these 2 tags are written totally different, but it will be super confusing. The first one that says link, you probably think is that to create hyperlinks, for clicking from one page to another. But no, the link tag is used to import external files inside your HTML page, for example, the CSS file. And the A tag is the one for creating links, because 8 stands for anchor, or anchor, what people think of hyperlinks. So yeah, this is something confusing, but you will need to get used to this one. So let's go back to this one, to the tags. Okay, so this is the H1 tag, and we can actually see an example on the screen. So we want to finally write something. Let me delete this tag because this red background looks ugly. Let me delete this mess of tags, and let me write directly an H1 tag and say hello world. And if I reload my page, I think it's, let me open it, is here in the lecture one, double click. So there you go. We finally have something on the screen. And I will read the chat once we finish this particular section. Then we have another important tag for text called the list item that allows you to create a bullet point. This one is quite special. The li tag is just for creating the list item. But if you put the tag on the browser, it will not show anything yet. In order to put either the bullets, the dots, or the numbers, you need to wrap this one in another special tag called either the UL tag or the OL tag. And we're gonna see an example right away. Finally, we have a label tag. This one is for forms, for the input text. So again, both the user and the screen readers understand what is this particular input box is for. So for example, you will use this one for in the SDA page. If we go to the SDA page, let me go right quickly. SDA project SE. Perfect. If I log in, this will be my labels. So I know that this both the user, a normal user, and a user that has visual disparity using a screen reader can understand that this particular input field is for emails and this particular input is for password. So let's go back. And finally, the anchor tag, as I mentioned before, this one is for hyperlinks. And you can use it in two ways. Unfortunately, I need to update this slide. I don't know what happened with the changes that I did yesterday. But you can use this particular anchor tag in two ways. If you want to link to another website outside your project, you just write directly, for example, http:// like this to link to another website. But if you want to link to a page inside your web page, you just do a relative link, like for example /about us.html, and this will be about us, and this can be search, for example, search. So this is how you use the anchor tag. The first example is for browsing a web page to another to an external web page, and the second example using a relative path is for navigating inside your project. And we're going to see examples of that right now. So let me write, for example, an example of a p tag for paragraph. And in Visual Studio Code, you have if you want to create a placeholder text, you can write the word lorem ipsum, and we'll create a small text that's read similar to Latin, but it's just placeholder text. I can go back to here, put this one side to side. And by the way, if you don't know how I'm moving the screen, you have these shortcuts here. For example, move the window to the left, move to the right, and I create shortcuts with a keyboard for command left and right. But that's outside the topic. You can search how to create keyboard shortcuts in Mac. So okay, I will reload the page, and now you can see this paragraph that is here. I will create a list item tag, for example, task 1, copy, task 2, and finally task 3, and I reload the page. Yes, you can see the bullets, but this is semantically incorrect. If you actually want to make the correct syntax, you need to surround this by the UL tag. I can actually start writing comments. For example, this one, H1 means heading 1. and in parentheses, title 1. To not for me, this tag should be called T1 to avoid confusion with the head tag, but people are weird and like to use confusing names. And P means paragraph. And this one means list. So as you can see, all the HTML tags basically are the abbreviations of everything. And this one is LE means you probably think that is this item. There you go. And if you want to create a list with numbers, instead of using UL, you use OL. And I will make the text a little bit bigger. Perfect. So you can see it better. And OL means, well, quite simple, ordered list. Perfect. And let's see an example of a link tags, anchor tag for external website. We can say href, and I will put another comment. Href means hyper text reference. Reference. Yeah, I don't know why they love to have these cryptic abbreviations. Remember, developers are weird. And I will say, for example, http://www.google.com. Sorry. Then Google. And then I close the tag. And I will create another one for internal website. Oh, and most important, I think this is an other tag. I was planning to mention it at the end of the lecture, but this tag is for comments. It's literally, you create a less than exclamation sign dash, and this will create a comment tag. And this one will be an anchor tag for internal website. To be honest, it's the same tag. The only difference is that instead of using the full address of a link, I can just can write, for example, /products.html, and I can go and say the title, product gallery. And if I refresh the page, let me just put a space here. This one is for, I will put it here in the comment. This one is, let me refresh the page. And okay, can somebody guess what it means, HR?
Horizontal rule.
Exactly. Yeah, so basically all HTML tags are abbreviations of something. So in this case, let's test this one out. If I click here, it goes to Google, perfect. And if I click here, nothing happens. Can somebody tell me why nothing happens?
We don't have a products.html yet.
Exactly. So let's create a quick product HTML. Perfect. Again, just let's create something simple, HTML5. We're gonna put it as a title, product page. And here, just something quick, H1, product page, and some random text. Remember, loading allows you to create this. So if I refresh, I go back and refresh the page. Oh, let me open this one. Again, index. Perfect. And if everything goes well, if I click on the product page, something is not happening. Let me see. It's product singular. So now let me write it again. And now that I have the page, actually Visual Studio Code showed me the options that I can link. Of course, I will not link to myself. I need to link to another page. So there you go. Refresh the page. And if everything goes well, perfect. I go to the product page. Perfect. And if I click here, I go to Google. So let's go back to this one. So this is how it works. And no worries, I will pass this file at the end of the lecture. Now I will make a quick stop to read the chat in case that there is something important that I need to know. Good morning, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the first question. In the Airbnb website example, the first triangle that contains the Airbnb logo navbar is header. Okay, let me go back to the Airbnb, Cosmin, so we can go together to this one. In the Airbnb website example, first triangle that contains the Airbnb logo, I think that you mean this one, that contains the Airbnb and also the navbar is a header or a nav. Yeah, this red one is the header. And if I draw another one on top of this one, so you can see the composition, if I put this one in purple, this will be, border line purple, 20 on purple, so you can see it. So yeah, this will be the composition. So the navbar is inside the header tag. So it's a nesting, something like this. Of course, this will not be. Let me create a quick Airbnb HTML. Of course, this will not be real, not at all. But this will be something like that. So body, this will be the header of. So will be header, and here we will have an image tag. I will explain how this one works a little bit later. So this one will be for the logo. Then you will have some for this one, for this search bar. Let's say a form, because this is a formulary to interact with the city, the time, and how many people. So we have a form tag, and let's use the complete words. And logo type, and let's use the complete names, formulary, blah, blah, blah. And then we have the navigation of the page, and then, sorry, no comment. So there you go. And then link 1 or button 1, button 2, button 1, button 2, and so on and so forth, etc. And again, nav means navigation, and form means formulary. So yeah, I hope that this answers your question. If that's not the question, this is the moment to ask. Inspect element, yeah. Okay, for the people that doesn't know, if you want to see how a web page is built, you can just right click, use the inspect element tool. That will open your diagram, and you can see that this is the code or source code of the web page. It's the same that is here. Oh yeah, just answer. Perfect. Yeah, this is the answer. Perfect. Break line. Yeah, there is one that is called BR. I will gonna explain it later. I didn't create one yet. Oh, for the product page. Perfect. So people are catching on. Nice. So let's go back to where we. Again, the Visual Studio Code logo means that I'm gonna showcase this example on the screen, and I already did. And I already mentioned this, but it's worthwhile to say it again, because this is the visual part for me, at least. It was super confusing at the beginning when I was started to learn stuff. You can see the head tag here, and as soon as you open the body tag, you probably need to put your intro, your header tag. So yeah, they are super close to each other, and usually you put your intro here. So you can see that in less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in 5 lines of code, we have 3 similar tags: head, header, and H1. Remember, H1 means heading, so there is also similar. So in 5 lines of code, we have 3 different tags that are writing super similar, but are super different. So you really need to get used to do that super quick, because unfortunately the course is super fast paced. So we have the cheat sheet in the platform where you can, I explain in detail what this each tag does, and you really need to get used to differentiate this, because if you try to write a head tag here, and you try to put a H1 here, the web page will not work at all, and this will be a pain to catch up for a fellow TA or a student, because they are super easy to miss, to misplace. So if your web page doesn't work, it's probably because you're mixing tags, and because they are so similar, it's super hard for a friend that is learning also how to make a web page, how to spot the mistake. So try to not make the mistake at all, because it's super hard to figure it out. Where is the mistake? And the second one is the link is for importing external files. And this one is for a hyperlink. I can actually showcase an example of this one. If let me go back to these examples. I will create a link tag. Yeah, go ahead, make a question.
Can we have a more than one header in a web page? Is there any rules like we need to have one header and one footer like that?
Do you mean that it's obligatory to have the header? For organization purposes, of course.
Yeah.
Because this example is just a super small, I just deleted. But yes, in this case, the recommendation will be, yeah, this is my intro. So this is the header. And I will say, for example, hello world. And aquí in a small paragraph, I can say, welcome to my example website. Yeah. For organization purposes, yes. But this was a short example. That's why I skipped the tag. But yes, for organization, yes, you need to put your header tags. Nice question. Now let's go back and showcase the difference between link and a. The link is for importing HTML, and you need to have to tell the browser which type of link file you want to do. In this case, it's a style sheet, and you need to tell where is the file. In this case, I will import one from the web. I have a nice example already in the SDA platform. Let me open it. Model contents, front-end development. And this one is the training wheels. Let me unlock it right now. If everything goes well, yeah, you can see it right now. I will explain what it does this jumble text means tomorrow. But for now, let me import this one in the, remember, the similar to the A tag, just to make the confusion even worse. They both use the hyperlink reference. So this is pointing to this web address. And if I refresh my page, now you can see some colors, and you can start to see, for example, now this training wheels, what it actually does is to explain which tags are in the web page. For example, you can see that this header is a grouping tag. Grouping tag, remember, like a folder in light gray. And then you have these content tags, either blue or purple for the content tags. So the training wheels allow you to visualize how the information is organized in the web page. So you can see, for example, an order list, this item, and the unordered list has a gray background because it's a grouping tag, and the list items are painted in blue because they are content tags, because this is content that I can see on the screen. In fact, if I go back and I create another order list here down below, for example, here, if I create a UL, I save and I reload the page, you can see that the URL list is just an empty container, doesn't have nothing on the screen because it's a grouping tag. You cannot put information there. You put information inside the list item, and so on and so forth. Perfect. And tomorrow in CSS, I will explain the difference because why some elements have a blue background and some elements appear with a purple background. But if I remove the HR line, you probably will start to figure it out. Can somebody see what is the difference between the blue ones and the purple ones? I will explain it tomorrow. Don't worry, if nobody get it.
Addresses.
Sorry, what?
The blue one does not have any address to go from So you can go to Google or you can go to product gallery. But
Oh,
with the-
okay, that's a nice confusion. But for example, now instead of using the A tag, I will use another tag. Yeah, but you're right because I didn't give enough context. So I will create another tag called spawn and say this is not a link. This is not an anchor link. This is also purple. I don't know where it doesn't have a purple background, but you can see the purple line. So, okay, this is not a link, but also has the same pattern that the other two that I want people discover. So, another guess? What's the difference between the ones with the blue and the difference with one with the purple?
Visited and not visited.
Sorry, what?
Visited and not visited.
Yeah, but remember that the span tag is not a link, so it's not related to the links at all. So it's nothing between that. When I mean purple, I don't mean the purple of the link. Sorry for the confusion. I mean the purple that you can see that this tag has a blue background. This one, the heading one has a blue background. The paragraph has a blue background. The list item has a blue background. The links, the anchor tag has a purple background. This one is another link and has a purple background. And even if this doesn't have a purple background, think that it has a purple background. So can you notice what is the difference between the purple ones and
I think, my opinion, I think because this is any text or any body written in the same page will give the same color, but another content will give, this is means Google the other color as a content, not the same program.
the color.
written in the same page.
I'm painting the color, by the way. I will remove it from 1 second. I will, if you want to make a comment in Visual Studio Code, is Command/. I will remove the
Yes.
design, and now you can see that without colors. Can somebody guess the
I see.
difference? One more try. What is the difference between these ones and these ones?
It's on the same line.
Sorry, what?
It's on the same line.
Exactly. That's the
The
difference.
symbol,
That's the difference. Forget about the background colors. That's the difference. Now let me go back to this slide. This is more for CSS, but I think it was relevant now. We have tags. Tags that goes when you write them. The browser will draw them from top to bottom, and you have some tags that when you write them, the browser will put them left to right. So that's the difference between this kind of content. So that's why I was using and I will put this one. I will put this one in parentheses, CSS display. This is why I will go in depth for this one tomorrow. And as Interlude said, CSS display in the same line, inline. So if I open the browser, and I will put the training, I will open the browser, inspect element. You can see that if I pass the mouse over, it covers the entire screen. And if I go to the details here, it says display block. So elements with display block will occupy all the entire width of the web page, and elements with display inline, inspect element. This one says span. Let me put computer display. You can see that it says display inline. This one will be put left to right. So you need to get used to the behavior that some HTML tags are display block and they are drawn from top to bottom, and some elements are displayed in line that they will draw left to right. But don't worry if this is still a little bit confusing. We're gonna see that in details tomorrow. So let's go back to where were we? Okay. And we now explain the difference between the link and the A. Remember, the link is for importing files. It's the equivalent of the import in Java, and the A is for hyperlinks. Again, sound confusing, but you need to get used to this. Now, let's move to another content tags, but this time for multimedia, in case for images, for video. And there is a special tag called canvas. Can somebody tell me what is the canvas tag for? Do you know this tag?
For drawing the images.
Okay, yes, you can draw images with this one. Can you go into a more detailed explanation of what do you mean by drawing images so people don't confuse it with the first one?
For using the image, we will usually copy the image and we use it directly. And if we need to draw the image like what we think, we can make use of this canvas to draw the image by ourselves.
Correct. So I will go then a little bit more technical. The image tag is when you have a photograph or whatever piece of image information, an image file, a JPEG file, a PNG file, a SVG file that is for vectors, and so on and so forth. You use the image tag. And if you want to draw graphics on the screen, like remember your Blue Jay exercise when you draw a sun, a circle, a house, and stick figure, and so on and so forth. This kind of graphics that you're drawing with code, that's the key difference. The image tag is for a picture that already exists, and the canvas is for drawing images using code, ideal for charts and so forth and so forth. So, for example, if we open upper numbers or Excel, we write something, for example, this one because it's already created. This will be like the equivalent of a canvas. This is not an image. This is a graphic created using code. In this case, if I change the number here, 6,000, or I change the numbers around here, for example, I think it's total expense, maybe it's 5,000 here. Hey, why doesn't update? Okay, I need to update it here. Okay. There you go. Now it changes. So this chart is created using code. Basically, it's reading these values, and based on these values, is updating the chart. So this will be the equivalent of the canvas. If I just take a screenshot of the computer and I save my image on the desktop, this will be the image tag. It's just a simple picture. And if I change the values here, if I sample from 300, I put 5,000, I update the graphic. But if I go to my desktop, the image is still the old picture because it's just a static picture. But this one is a graphic that changed by using code. So this is the difference between the image and the canvas. And also, the canvas can be used for inside the web page to make video games, because the canvas is for any graphics that you can draw using code. So literally, video games are interactive graphics. So you can use the canvas for video games as well.
Eduardo.
Yes.
So you can I say then that the canvas are interactive elements?
Yes.
In the page. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, literally, I can show you. In fact, if we go a little bit off topic, I can show you. I think it's called Chart.js. Is literally create charts for your website. So yeah, these are not our image tags. There are real graphics that are changing based on data. And as you can see, it's because they're using the HTML canvas element. And you can also use the canvas for video games. So for example, if I remember, gosh, I don't remember the link. This one.
And Eduardo,
Yeah, go ahead.
do we use some scripting language for this, like Canvas?
Of course, and the language is the infamous JavaScript.
JavaScript, okay.
This is the language for the web. So I know that I know that you learned Java for the first 5 weeks of the SDA. Now Kevin started to teach you about JavaScript. Quick disclaimer, we are going super off topic, but it's okay. Java is more structured, it's right. JavaScript has a fame for being a little bit, has a fame to have obtuse comments, like in the last question that Kevin did in the syntax. But if JavaScript has a redeeming quality, is that you can make a web application and share it with your clients or friends all over the world by just sharing a single hyperlink. You don't need to install anything. So as bad as JavaScript it is, he has the best redeeming quality that is literally everywhere. So literally, You can use it for anything. So yeah, this is a canvas example. Literally, there is a small Pong video game here. Let me reload the page. I don't know what it is. It has a bug. So yeah, this small game in Pong is running on a canvas, and the canvas behind that is drawing these graphics using JavaScript. So yeah, this is the canvas for. So let's go back. And the video tag, you probably know, just enter YouTube. That video is a canvas, it's a video tag. So I don't need to showcase that one. And I already showed some examples. Okay, I will show the example of how to import this graphic in the graphic that we just took from this one. I will say it was a Apple numbers. This is a PNG file, and I put it inside my. And this is something that we can start making our project. I put my image here, but please be organized. Put your images inside an image folder. So right click and say images, create a folder, and put it here. Don't be, I will delete the Airbnb because that was just a edge case. Put your images inside the image. Please don't put it here. Don't be messed up. It's really annoying. So let's import this image. We create and again it's a image, and instead of using href, we use source. Why we use source instead of href if they are technically the same? Because it is /images/ Apple numbers. EMG means image. I probably already knew that one. And I'll put in uppercase the ones that letters are salted. So why this one says source and the other one says the links has hyperref, and this one also has the link with this one. This one has a hyperref, and this one has source. The answer is because developers are the most messed and disorganized people in the entire planet. They're supposed to be logical like mathematicians, but no, that's bullshit. They are super disorganized. So they're starting to create two different properties for something that are exactly the same. So please don't be like them. Be organized and don't make this kind of mistakes. So yeah, this is the source tag. Let me open it. And you can see the image here. There you go. And with CSS, we're gonna make it fit on the screen quite nicely. And you can see this purple border. And you can see that it's on the same line that these ones. That means that this one is a display inline element. So perfect. Next, move to the next type of tags. Because we finished this section, I will open the chat for questions before we move to the interactive tags. So questions? Locally versus externally. Yes, but as I show you in this example, this one is an internal inside the project, and this one is outside. So trust me that that's not a problem. Good question. Why the HTML tag sometimes start with doc type? Okay, let's pass the mouse over here. This one is a legacy from. This one is from a legacy from the HTML HTML 1, 2, 3, and 4 times. I think it's impossible to create an older file, but older HTML. I will put HTML. HTML, no. But okay, I cannot create older files. But the point being is that we are in HTML5 already. Nobody says HTML5 anymore because it's just the standard. So we just say HTML. But if we are in HTML5, it means that there was HTML1, 2, 3, and 4. And the versions were different between each other. And if you didn't specify which version of your HTML page was, the browser will render your content differently because I don't remember, but let's say, for example, H1 didn't exist in HTML version 2. So if you didn't put the tag, the browser will not render the tag because it doesn't know what to do, because it doesn't know that your web page is in HTML version 2.0. So this is a legacy for the older times. You can literally remove the tag and your web page will work without any issues at all. But it's for legacy purposes only. So yeah. Just like this tag, for example, if I delete this tag right now, the page looks exactly the same. If I remove this tag, the page looks exactly the same. If I remove this tag, the page looks exactly the same. But if I say hello world called Spanish, hola mundo, and I put heck, I know that this one doesn't have this switch characters, but if I put the switch characters, for example, this one, the A, or A-O is this one. I think it's this one. If I put these ones, looks messed up because the browser doesn't understand the switch characters. So to understand the switch characters, I need to put back the Control C. I need to put back the UTF-8, and now when I reload the page, now they're rendered correctly. So that's why this one is for special characters. Perfect. And yes, doc type HTML is, this is the important part. This one doesn't say, why doesn't doc type HTML says version? Let's say that this was the, to wrap it up this topic. I don't remember how to write it, because, to write these ones because, Control C, Alt C, there you go. Imagine that this was doc type HTML equal 4, and then equal 3, equal 2. This was literally the this tag didn't exist because the creator of the HTML standard didn't thought that it was going to be a new version. So these tags were invented starting HTML2. Why this one doesn't say HTML equal 5, version 5? And the answer is because the creator of the standard realized that we don't need to use version numbering anymore, because as soon as you release a new feature, just the browser will update automatically and will have always the latest version. So you don't need to think of HTML like Java. You need to ask, hey, do I install Java 8, Java 11, 15? Because we everybody's on the same page, because as soon as you literally you close the browser, and when you open the browser, behind the scenes, the first thing that the browser does is to connect to the internet and download the latest version of this browser. So you will be always up to date. So if tomorrow HTML invents a new tag, for example, the tag hello, the hello tag, and they invent it tomorrow, in less than 3 days, everybody in the planet will have that has access to the internet will open a browser in some moment, and the browser will connect to the internet and download the new tag that doesn't exist anymore, doesn't exist before. So that's why we don't use version numbers anymore, because our browsers are always up to date, because literally as soon as you open the browser, it connects to the internet before showing you the web page. So there's always the latest version. So that's why we don't use version numbers anymore. And this tag is a legacy purposes only, just to don't break older browsers. We're talking browsers before the year 2000. So yeah, that's for it. So let's take a short break. We'll be back at 10:30 to finish the last slides. So that's okay. We are back in 17 minutes to round it up. Starting now.
Eduardo, just a reminder, you still recording.
Okay. Unfortunately, yeah, it will go in the edit. Try me to remind me that tomorrow so we can pause the. But based on my experience, last year a couple of lectures literally went. We paused and we forgot to unpause it. So between having a video with 1 hour 45 minutes or 100 or 2 hours video is a small detail. Yeah, it's better to have a 2 hours video than to literally to try to make it shorter and make it just a 145-hour video. We forgot about that and we literally lose the second half of the class. That happened last year, so I think it's better to.
No, it's no problem. I saw you were browsing because I was busy doing some stuff here. And I didn't know if you had remembered that it was recording.
Okay. I can close this. Yeah, you're right. It's the screen sharing, not the post of the. Yeah.
Yes, the screen sharing. So that's why I was just saying you're busy browsing. I didn't know if you remembered if it was
No. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
No problem.
I thought that you were saying pausing the screen sharing. We actually did that last year and we forgot.
No problem.
Yeah, no, don't worry. Thank you so much.
Edward, are you here?
Yes.
I have a question, and I don't know if it's out of scope. I put a piece of code in the chat. Could you help explain what does it exactly mean?
Okay, I will explain it and I will mention to the people that during the break we make a question. The example that you have is for it's called the anchor. Well, the A tag is anchor tag. I already explained that one. But the slash in like home is for creating links inside your page. So for example, if you use Wikipedia and there is a table of contents and you click on the table of contents, instead of reloading the page or moving to another page, it just literally scrolls down the web page to the particular section. This is what this this does. And the second one that says class, we're gonna see that tomorrow. So I will skip this one on purpose today because I don't want to explain topics from tomorrow today. But the class is for design, and we'll explain exactly what this design does tomorrow.
Okay. Well, this was like I was trying to make a hamburger menu, and one of the first ones was that making sure that the main page has a tag, has an anchor reference to itself, and I was wondering if it could be hash anything, and it would still point to the same thing because it's just creating an anchor reference to the first page.
Yeah, we're gonna see that. Don't worry, tomorrow. Okay. Yes. But yeah, no, but nice question, and I'm super happy that people are trying to go even faster to the normal pace. I love it. But just to keep everybody on the same page, we're gonna see those details tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you for answering.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad for the question. But yes, class is for styling. Yeah. So we're about to resume the lectures. In 10 seconds. Perfect. So let's continue with the last part. Now let's see the interactive in tags. So we can start thinking about how to make a user interface elements. What are the interactive tags? Well, simple. It's everything that you use to interact with the user. And the classical example is a formulary where you have an input, so you can put your email, and a button, so you can trigger an action. And how do you code this action? Well, simple, by using a JavaScript function. And these are the main interactive tags. We have, of course, the button as the main one. We have the radio button when you need to pick one choice from a list of options. You have the checkbox when you want to either agree for something, or when you need to add, also used for when you need to choose a multiple choice question. Finally, the select and the option. And the select is this special drop down that when you click, it opens and showcases this list of options. And finally, the input, that is the classical one for writing information. Now that we are mentioning the input tag, let's go a little bit more into depth in the HTML. Let me create a new page. And say HTML5. So in this one, we're gonna explain about the properties of the tag. So what I mean by the properties of the tag is quite simple. If I create an input, I just want to put this one here, input field tag. And if I open this page, Finder, just to make the background stand a little bit, I will use the style tag. Background color. You don't need to memorize CSS learn yet. This is going to be tomorrow. And background color, like for example, sorry, my bad. Body, background color, light gray, light blue. Okay. So yeah, we can see the tag a little bit better. Now, this is how you write tags, and you can see that this particular tag has a special that is self-closed. Normally, we saw tags that are, for example, this one div, and you write something here. Hello, remember, don't never use a div tag for content. Hello and hello with L. This one is a self-closing tag. So some tags, that's something that you need to remember as well. And this is with practice. And that's why there is a cheat sheet in the SDA platform. So you can check it. There is no shame in literally having a second screen using seeing the list of the tags before until you memorize the tag by just using every single day. So you don't need to memorize the tags right now. You don't need to memorize it then. Like there is no deadline to memorize the tags. You will memorize them just by using them every single day and until you get comfortable. So there will be no kind of deadline to memorize the tags at all. But in any case, let's start talking about the properties of a tag. So the tags not only have content, but they can have properties, just like a JavaScript object that has properties. You can write properties for the tags as well. So for example, in this one is input have a type, and you can see that the type is a checkbox. If I click on this one, it will become literally a checkbox. If I put a password and I refresh the page and I try to type something, the browser automatically make this asterisk or bullets to hide the password. And if you're in Safari, it opens the password manager of the browser. If you put email, I reload the page. Here, it looks exactly the same as a normal input type. Sorry, if I put text, save, and I reload the page, they look exactly the same. But the cool thing about this one is that if you open the browser on a mobile device and you click on this one, the keyboard will show the @ sign, and if you put the type number on the page, I see this number increment. But if you click on a mobile device, you will see the keyboard. It will automatically say showcase the sign, only the number keypad instead of the full keyboard. So there are advantages for these ones. But in any case, what I'm trying to say is that the input tags, in addition to having opening and close tags, some tags are self-closing, and some tags has properties. So for example, if the input field doesn't have a input like this, the browser doesn't even allow me to do this. If I put, for example, hello here, email here, for example, it appears in the right, but and this is incorrect syntax because it's literally just writing this text, and this text is totally ignored. So it's basically the same thing as this one. So how do I put text inside the input field by default? Let me reload the page. You have a property called placeholder. And I can put, for example, to write an example, Eduardo, see? And you can see that the text appears here. Now I cannot select it. And as soon as I write one character, it disappears because the placeholder is literally, as the name says, is just a placeholder until somebody writes something. And it's used to give it a hint of what is the field about. If you want to know, if you actually want to write something in the field, you put, I think it's value. Yeah, value, and say, for example, it's not my real email, but, and if I think it's value. No, let me just Google it, input field in W3 School. And this is what you literally do when you forget about the values, input value. So what's type for agree, blah, 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 type test, ID name. I think it was value. Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know where it is. No, type text. This one. Yeah, it's because the type the browser was validating that I was trying to pass a input file number into a string inside a field type number. Unfortunately, this is something important with the HTML. Unfortunately, this kind of mistakes doesn't crash the browser. In Java, it will throw a compiler error. Here, doesn't happen. So this is why you need to. That's why remember that in the beginning of the class I was telling you, if you put you use the incorrect tag, nobody will be able to debug the problem for you. So don't make mistakes. It's exactly for this, because the browser doesn't crash. Unfortunately, it doesn't crash. It just stopped working without giving you any information. So you need to avoid these kind of silly mistakes. Literally, it's just by practice. So you will mess it up, try to fix the problem on your own, and then try to remember and never do it again. So yep, it goes like this. And some properties doesn't need to pass a value. For example, if I put the button, hello, click me, reload the page. Nothing happens because literally we are not adding JavaScript yet. But as soon as we add JavaScript by the third day, we are starting to make this interactive. But I will showcase a property that doesn't have a value. So for example, disable, and now I cannot click on the button. It becomes disable will be basically the equivalent in Java that as a property is disable equal true or equal false. But in HTML, if we certain properties you just write this disable directly, and it will become enable or enable. So it's the equivalent of disable. It will be the equivalent of writing in Java is disable equal true or equal false. In this case, equal disabled equal true. So yeah, these are for properties. Let's go back to the slides. And this is the input. And finally, the other tags that we wanted to mention, the horizontal rule, we already saw it. it literally throws an horizontal rule to divide the elements, and you put it between two inline elements. Remember, the ones that are organized from left to right instead of top to bottom. It will force them to break apart and appear in the next line. Next one is line break or break rule. I think Marta or Marcela mentioned it already. I will go to this one. I will go to this example, and between these ones, let me open it in Safari. Desktop, lecture one, index. You can see that these ones are in the same line. We are already divided with the horizontal rule, but there is another tag that you can use. There is break rule. As you can see, you put in a new line. The reason that you cannot read it is because we have this CSS styling. There you go, and you can put it there. You can see the difference. So here again, BR means break rule, and I will correct the slides right away. Is break rule, line break. There you go. And finally, this one is the comments. You can do comments in Visual Studio with just pressing Command/ if you are setting up the keyboard as American one. Otherwise, just is this symbol and close with this one. What else do we have for today? Oh yeah, we're gonna show the examples in Visual Studio Code that we just literally did. So I'm doing the examples before explaining them. Yeah, that's a little mistake on my part. Okay, the last part for the last part of this lecture is how to upload a website. This is quite fun. So let's okay, somebody has a question. Okay, go ahead.
Eduardo, was break rule a self-closing tag?
Correct. It's quite simple that what is a breaking tag, a self-closing tag, because you cannot put information between the BR, because the BR is not a content tag where you can write content inside it. It's literally a self-closing because as soon as you invoke this one, it will create a new line and that's it. You cannot put content. So that's why it doesn't have a closing tag.
Thank you.
And now that we're into that, the reason that the image is a self-closing tag instead of a normal tag is because if you try to do this image and pass the address of the image here, the browser will just literally print on the screen like it was a piece of text. So that's why the image tag is also a self-closing tag, because to put literally the image on the screen, you need to pass the address, but not the address as a string of characters, but literally the address of the image, and then the browser will render the image on the screen. That's why the image is also a self-closing tag. So self-closing, and this one is also self-closing. Somebody saying something?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding for the style, can we create a style file separately for the HTML file?
You can write the style here. Yes, technically, yeah, you can do it, but it's a really bad idea to write your code here. The ideal part will be to create a starter file and there put your HTML file to CSS file, sorry, to stylize it. And we're gonna see that tomorrow, don't worry.
Yeah, thank you. And now my questions regarding for HTML, PHP, and that what the difference for your experience about the HTML with C#, HTML with JavaScript? Which is the best in the website?
Yeah, as I told you, the standard language for the web is JavaScript, and it will be for at least the next 10 years. I know that there is other technologies that are started to appear to allow to install other languages in the web, and I will mention that in the optional lecture, other web technologies. So we're gonna go into detail there then. So don't miss that optional lecture because we're gonna mention that one there.
Thank you so much.
No problem. So, okay, let's upload this website. How do we do that? Quite simple. There is multiple ways to do it. Some free, some paid. I know that you probably hear about Heroku, but I like to recommend something called Firebase because so far in this, I haven't used it for 5 years and it never let me down. So this is the one I will recommend. But if you know already how to upload a website in another service, it's totally okay. So, okay, to upload a website, a free website on Firebase, you enter literally to firebase.google.com. Let me sign out so you can see the process from the beginning. So as soon as you enter the page, click and sign in to go to console. You can skip the sign in because as soon as you go to console, it will prompt to use an account. So for example, I will use my personal account. If you don't have a Google account, then just create a free one. Put your password. Next. And it will send you to this page. If this is your first time entering Firebase, this page will be totally empty, and the only button that you will see is the Add a Project. So you click here. We can create a name for your project. Let's say this project is called SDA 9 Lecture 1. Perfect. Press continue. It will ask you if you want to enable Google Analytics. If you want to do it, go ahead. Otherwise, just uncheck it for now. And you can enable later, don't worry. Press the create button. It will take a time. Literally, it's creating a project in their servers. So that's why it takes a little bit of time. But we're gonna see quite soon what do we have. Perfect, the project is ready. And we will go navigate to this particular dashboard for your particular project. And we can have a Firebase, by the way, is not only for hosting web pages, it's an entire backend as a service. So this is super important for front-end developers. If you want to make amazing projects and don't depend on somebody else to make a backend, or don't want to learn backend, well, you need to learn obligatory backend in the next module in the SDA. But in case that you want to focus only on the front end as your career, but you still need to have a database for a login system and so on and so forth, Firebase make it so easy for you. So this, and we're going to have an optional lecture just for Firebase in the second week of the front end module. But in any case, let's focus on what we have is hosting a simple website. We click on hosting. We have a video with the information about what is the service about. Just press get started. And I will prompt us to install the Firebase tools. So you open the terminal or you open your console. You paste the command, press enter. I will not press enter because I already have the tools installed. I don't want to overwrite the process. But then you can skip this one. Just press next. Then once you have installed the Firebase command line interface, that's the CLI, command line interface. So once you install the Firebase command line interface, you can copy the command Firebase login. We'll go to this one. Let me do Firebase logout first. Logout, so you can see the process from the beginning. Perfect. And logout. Now let's do the command Firebase login. And let's see what is happening. So Firebase, blah, blah, blah. Let's say that you want to collect information. No, I don't want to collect information. Google, stop spying. Choose the account that the one that you created. In this case, I use my personal KTH account. Giving the permission to everything. Yes. And Firebase is login. Perfect. Now I can go back and I can see this one that it says success. So I can go to the next step. That is Firebase init. I press Firebase init. And it says this interface. And you can see all the services that Firebase has. You can browse with the arrow function. And we choose hosting. Don't press enter. This is a small user interface mistake. You need to press spacebar. And you will see that the dot becomes green. So again, you press space. And then you press enter. And it will say if you want to use an existing project, and we created one called already SDA Lecture 1, so use an existing project. You choose it from the list. Let me see, where is the curriculum vitae? Oh yeah, you scroll down your list. Remember, if you're your first time, you will only see your project, but because I have many projects, I will choose the one, scroll down. There you go. And they will start to make some questions. And the first question that it says, what do you want to use as your public directory? And you can see that in parentheses, grayed out says public. When you see in Firebase a grayed option, it means that this is the default option. So in this case, you say, yes, I want to use public as a default project. When we reach React, we are going to use a different folder, but I will not go into detail for that now. And then you can, it says, you want to configure it as a single page application. For now, we don't care about this. This is for the second week of React. So right now, we choose the default option that says and. Remember, grayed out is the default options, and this one makes you choose between yes or no, and the and is in uppercase. That means that the no is the default one. So we say no for now. Connect with the GitHub, default no for now. Perfect. And we can see that Firebase create a couple of files. It created a Firebase JSON, a git ignore, and a Firebase source. For now, ignore everything. And it also created a public folder. And this is the important part. This is a folder that Firebase will use to publish your website. So everything outside the public folder will not appear. So that means that we need to move our files, the index HTML, interactive HTML, product HTML, and also the image folder, and drag inside the public folder. Because the public folder, Firebase by default creates an index, Visual Studio Code will say, if you want to override the file, the answer is yes, because this index file was created by Firebase, and this is the one that we created in class. So we say replace. Now that our project is inside the public folder, we can go to the last step in the terminal. We press next. And the next step is quite easy. It's literally Firebase deploy. And if everything goes well, just wait a couple of seconds until the website is uploaded. It's moving the files. Says deploy complete, and this is the hosting URL. So this is where my web page is. I can copy this page or command click and open the web page. And this is the web page that we just did, including the image. In fact, I can share it on the chat right now, and everybody can see the changes. So this file is not anymore in my local computer. It's in the entire web for everybody to see. So did somebody open the link and confirm that they can see it as well? Perfect. So congratulations, you just hosted your first website. Nice. So let's go back to the slides. I will, by the way, I will try to edit this part of the video just so you can have the Firebase element. Okay, instead of having this image, you already saw the process. Remember tips based on experience. Students make this mistake all the freaking time. Put your files inside the public folder, otherwise it will not work. And sorry for yelling this because I remember telling this in the SDA 8 and in the SDA 7, and I swear that by Thursday this week, people I started to ask me or the TAs, hey, my website cannot, I created a Firebase project and it doesn't work. And people don't put the files inside the public. Put your files inside the public folder. Otherwise, Firebase will not work. So please, for a third time, put your file inside which folder?
Public.
Thank you.
Public.
Thank you. Now, when you want to do a deploy or when you want to make changes, let's say that you edit the page and you want to deploy again, remember your command is Firebase deploy. The Firebase login and Firebase init are only done the first time that you set up the project. So if I close Visual Studio Code right now and I open the project again, I can minimize and drag and drop the project so I can open the project directly. because this project is already set up, and we know that it's set up. Let me delete this one so it doesn't bother. You know that this project is already set up with Firebase because it has this Firebase 2 files. You don't need to do Firebase init. You don't need to do Firebase login. If you just want to make a change, and let's make the change. Instead of saying hello world, we're gonna say hola mundo. You only need to do Firebase deploy for the second time. Deploy. So I repeat, you don't need to do Firebase init again because the project is already set up. You just need to go to Firebase deploy directly. And this is gonna be a gotcha. Sometimes if I reload the page, you will not see the changes. Right now you saw it, but sometimes the browser cache doesn't reflect the changes. If that happens, you need to go to develop empty cache, or in Mac, press Command Shift R. No, Command, let me see what it was. Edit the file, reload, browser window, history. I think it was Command R is to reload the page, and Command Option R to refresh the cache. You can see that when I press Command R, the blue bar appears super fast because the web page is loading from the cache. But if I press Command Option R, there is a white flashback for 1 second. Is that because it's downloading everything again? So if you don't see your changes, you need to delete your browser cache. So this happens sometimes, so don't forget about this one. Okay, moving on. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just a quick question. Or I don't know if it's in the scope, but just a curiosity. If we were to host the website on a regular web hotel, and then in that case, we would then have to set up a servers differently, right?
Correct. Yes.
Or what would be the difference if not using Firebase? That's the question.
Yeah, if you don't use Firebase, let's go for another provider. Let's check the most popular ones on the web right now. GoDaddy is the leader in the market. They have a strong marketing campaign in the States. So for this one, oh shit, it's in Swedish. Let me go to English. I didn't understand anything. Let me go to States, to the United States.
I think you can change there, maybe.
Oh yeah, probably yes. But yeah, it's faster just to switch to the browser. But anyways, you see the products, and you can see you can buy the domains for buying the names, the .com names. Websites is for the website is for the entire solution, including the website builder. But what you're looking for is web hosting, that is to upload the website. And you can see plans for $5 per month. But let me tell you, the Firebase is as good or even better than this, at least until you reach these plans. They are even better than the Firebase ones. But Firebase is probably as good as these ones for free. But the advantage of using GoDaddy is that GoDaddy not only allows you to buy the hosting, but also the names. So it's an integrated service. For Firebase, you need to buy the domain in a web page like GoDaddy or another provider, and then connect it. But connection to the Firebase is outside the scope of the project, of the SDA. But I hope that, yeah, Netlify is another one. It's quite popular. This one is super popular as well. And it's also free. Has free and paid plans. Another one is Heroku. So there are many. But why I love to use Firebase is because Firebase has an amazing database, has an automatic login system. So we are moving from just speaking about web pages to speaking about web applications. And the login feature of the Firebase is amazing. It's built by Google. So yeah, it's really good. So, oh, and by the way, you can see that this is the hosting, and you can see that the website was published. You can see the deploy date and by what user, because you can have multiple users inside your project, and so on and so forth. So yeah, you can build the entire backend with Firebase. In fact, the SDA is the backend of the SDA is built in Firebase. I will showcase real examples of the SDA in that particular optional lecture. So if you're interested in front-end development, and you need to learn how to make a quick prototypes. Oh, by the way, the optional lecture called Firebase will be super important for people that wants to be a front-end developer and wants to showcase their product, not just hosting the web page, but showcase to a client, hey, I can build a full stack as well with a database and so on and so forth. And don't worry about setting a server. It will be important for them. But there will be another target of students that will be quite interested in Firebase. These ones are the people that are looking to startups. Firebase is the ideal tool for a hackathon for building a prototype, because you don't need to deploy you don't need to spend 2 weeks or 1 month setting a server. You can just create a server in just a matter of seconds and activate a login system. It's literally as easy as clicking get started, waiting a couple of seconds and say, oh, I want to activate the email system, or login with Facebook, with Yahoo, with Apple, Twitter, and so on and so forth, and click enable, and that's it. It's super easy, so super recommended for this kind of people as well. So yeah, let me see.
Yeah, very cool.
It is 100%. So okay, what is for homework for this afternoon? And what I mean by homework is not, I am not gonna grade it, it's just do it so you can practice. So let's say instead of homework, let's say word practice, because I got complaints last year that Eduardo makes so many projects. No, it's just for practice, so you can practice. So, okay, first one, install the live server plugin. And what is this one? I will show you right away. I want that you research. But right now, each time that I make a change, for example, I will go back to hello world. And I'm here in the, let me go to the exercise. I delete the index. Sorry, index dot lecture 1 / index HTML. Oh, let me open the page from here. Because I moved to the public folder. Yeah, that's why. So, okay, let me go here. Let me put Visual Studio on the side. So your first assignment will be to research about this plugin called Live Server, because this is the problem that if I say Hola Mundo is the translation in Spanish, by the way, and I save here, nothing happens. I need to reload the page, Command R. The Live Server plugin allows you to, each time that you save in Visual Studio Code, the changes will reflect on the browser automatically. As soon as you save here, you will see the changes here. So I will leave as a homework to research about how to install it yourself. Task number 2 will be check the spreadsheet, the cheat sheet. Remember, let's go to the SDA platform. Well, I know that I'm saying the admin platform, but this is the screen that you see. This is the cheat sheet. And now this one will start to make sense. There is a nice explanation, the head tags, the body grouping tags, the content tags. Remember, these are the ones that you can see. All grouping tags are like in this format, like div, put something inside, and then div. So these are normal tags. Almost all the content tags are also normal in this format, like tag and close tag, with the exception of image. But this image is the only one that doesn't have this one. And I think the video, the only reason that video allows you to put something here is because you want to put an image as a thumbnail inside the video tag as to show something until the video is loaded. But the image is the only one that is a self-closing tag. Then the interactive tags. Oh, this looks ugly. Let me paint it real quick. Where is the paint tool? This one? Oh, I think that I cannot edit it right now. Oh no, it's here. Let me put this one. There you go, much better. Most of them are self-closing. This has a combination between normal tags and self-closing tags. And these ones are self-closing. And each one has a link for more information in DoubleTree Schools. So for now, focus on the HTML tags. And the last exercise will be try to create a table like this one. Try to create a document and try to create a table like this one. You will need to research the table tag. I didn't explain the table tag today, but I trust you that you can research. And remember, there's many pages where you can learn about HTML, but this resource, DoubleTree Schools, this page, the green one, is quite nice. So research about the table. Try to make this table. By the way, don't overthink about the images of the flags. Literally, just put emojis. For example, if you're in the Mac keyboard, it's Command Option Space. Oh, sorry, no, Command. What was the command? Command. Oh yeah, sorry. Command Control Space allows you to put the emoji search, and just put flags. And there you go. So you can put Brazil for Ayrton Senna and so on and so forth. So try to do this one. Try to create this table just to practice. I know that this table is super messed up. Looks easy, but you have to make a lot of tags. And this will make you practice where to put the tags, the closing tags. So try to make this table. And if you can, also publish in the Firebase.
Do we need to have the hyperlinks as well? No, I guess not, right?
No, not right now. No, not right now. Just focus on the table and the flags. If you can pull it off the flags, otherwise no. And extra points if you learn how to merge this one. You can see that these cells are merged. Not obligatory. You just can put Jack Braham 3, Jack Stewart 3, Nikki Laura 3, Nelson Piquet 3, and Ayrton Senna 3 as well in titles. You don't need to merge it, but if you can learn how to do it, go ahead as an extra bonus points. And don't focus on these ones and the sorting because that needs JavaScript and that's outside of the scope for now. And we're going to do that probably in React. So forget about this one. So focus on the table. Bonus point for the emojis. Bonus points if you can merge the tables, and bonus points if you can put it in Firebase. So yep, that will be it for practice for today. Any questions before we wrap it up?
No, we don't need to submit anywhere, right? It's just like do it yourself and then.
Yeah, do it yourself and send me either the HTML file or send me the link to Firebase if you manage to reach to Firebase. Yeah, and that will be it. There will be TAs available that will help you. So yeah, try to practice for these ones. For tomorrow, the CSS part, we are gonna build this particular project. We're gonna teach how to make a CV page. Let me see if I can see it in Firebase. Let me open it right away.
Just a quick parallel question. There was a video for the preparation for the lectures. Were we supposed to also check that before the lecture or?
Yep, that was for the weekend, but don't worry, I still cover everything from scratch.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me show you the project that we're gonna do tomorrow. Hosting, this will be the last thing for today. Oh, I think this one doesn't have it. So let me see the web page and curriculum vitae. Oh, I think this one for the SDA 8. Okay, I can use probably this one. So yeah, tomorrow we are gonna build this one. It doesn't have CSS on purpose, but we're gonna put the CSS as well to make it look quite nice. In fact, I actually have the project in the local hard drive. I think it's better to showcase this one. Curriculum vitae.
Sorry, you don't share the screen.
Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. Sorry. Yeah. Each time that I do that, please.
Okay.
Tell me that. Oh, I'm glad that you don't see it because I was not able to find the project anyways in Firebase. So, okay, tomorrow we're gonna build something. Start building something like this. Rebar Finder. Please don't make me look bad. There you go. Something like this. And this one works perfectly on mobile. If I enter responsive mode, tomorrow we're gonna say how to enter responsive mode, and everything goes well. Perfect. You can click on portfolio. Oh, this one, maybe the link is, I need to check the link. It's a responsive mode. Oh yeah, oh, this was actually working. Let me go to responsive mode. Yeah, the projects are here. I just needed to scroll the page. I will delete this part for the portfolio. It makes confusing. So yeah, you will be able to navigate this page and make it look nice in tablets and so on and so forth. So tomorrow we're gonna do that. So yeah, practice HTML today, practice the table that I show you, and then keep watching the video I told you so you can start familiarizing yourself with CSS. So yep, that will be it for today. And if there's no more questions, yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
bye.
Good.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.